here's Fox News. It was also in AP and other places. But here's Fox News, October 20th. So this is 7 days ago. Exclusive. Al-Qaeda leader dined at the Pentagon just months after 9/11. Anwar al-Awlaki may be the first American on the CIA's kill or capture list. But he was also a lunch guest of the military brass at the Pentagon within months of September 11th. It has now been declassified. Documents exclusively obtained by Fox News, including an FBI interview conducted at the Fort Hood shooting in November, state that Anwar al-Awlaki was taken to the Pentagon as part of a military outreach. He met with the Secretary of the Army and others. Now, this is 2 months after he was the #3 guy of Al-Qaeda on the news. Then you've got the hijackers trained at U.S. military bases, Newsweek, AP. You've got Anwar al-Awlaki on record running the Fort Hood shooter, and the government's blocked those documents. Running the Christmas Day underwear bomber, they block that. Running the Times Square bomber, they block that. And in the case of the underwear bomber, I had Kurt Haskell and other witnesses who were on the plane from Amsterdam here. They said a sharp-dressed guy in a suit came up and got this guy who looked drug, Mutalib, on the plane, Governor. This is all on record. And then there was a pop and all this happened, and they told us to shut up about it. Then the government said he was a liar. Then it came out that the State Department deputy head, the head of the visas, Mr. Kennedy, said, I was told by an unnamed U.S. intelligence agency to help him get on the plane. Now, Governor, you got Anwar al-Awlaki who runs all these operations, all these patsies, and he is on record 2 months after he's on the news as the #3 of Al-Qaeda carrying out 9/11, and he is at the Pentagon in a close... What does that sound like?
I missed that. This was on Fox News?
Only 7 days ago. That's why you missed it.
No kidding. See, that's all new to me. That's what's interesting about this stuff. As the puzzle gets put together, more pieces start to assemble and more information comes forward all the time. I mean, at what point are the American people going to say enough is enough? Another thing I want to touch on too, Alex, is the fact that you've got the people out there like 9/11 Truth that is now multiplied into many areas. You've got architects and engineers. You've got airline pilots. And the thing people need to understand about that is the mainstream media portrays 9/11 truthers as being some fringe element and some wild, crazy liberals or whatever they are out there, leftover hippies, whatever they may say. And they don't realize that the 9/11 truth movement, the great majority of it is professionals. These are not people that are crazies. They're not people that, in fact, they're courageous because they're putting their professional integrity on the line to ask the questions. By the way, did I tell you that I had my showdown with Arianna Huffington in a dressing room?
No, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. When I was out doing the show tour, Arianna was there for something, and her and I had it out pretty good in the dressing room where I questioned and wanted to know why she practiced censorship on me. And, of course, she got a little huffy at the end and walked out and wouldn't talk to me anymore, but she still stands by that they don't do conspiracy theories. And I explained what I was writing about was not a theory of anything. It was an event that took place in San Francisco where thousands of architects and engineers signed a petition demanding a new investigation. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's an event that took place. But she would hear none of it, and so we, of course, left each other on pretty bad terms, I would guess. I mean, not bad terms to where we'd never speak again, but she clearly knows that I will never write for her censoring Huffington Post anymore.
Well, George Soros doesn't like the truth coming out. He's gotten a lot of power out of what's happened in the shift in this country as well. Just to back you up, let me mention a few of the people that have gone public. The #3 man in the Japanese government went public on this show. The former president of, and this is all over BBC, Reuters, but not in the U.S., 2 years ago, the former president of Italy. He also happened to be the former head of their CIA, and he said that he knew in 1980 our government was staging bombings to blame the left, and that's now been declassified, Operation Gladio, over 100 bombings. The former German defense minister has been on this show. The former head of German intelligence has been on this show to say 9/11's an inside job and break down the evidence. We have literally now one of the most powerful people in the Labour Party of Australia went public last week and said it was an inside job. He happens happens to be an engineer, and they told him, how dare you? And he said, look, I'm not a coward, and you cowards don't run things anymore, and I'm not going to retract what I said, and he went over Building 7. So something's happening. We're seeing a second or third wave of 9/11 truth, the biggest ever. I thought it would subdue after Bush left. It's gotten bigger, Governor. I mean...
Well, as well it should, because the Bush policies are still in place, aren't they?
Yes.
Nothing has changed. We're still fighting in 2 wars. We still are being in a lockdown mode in this country, like I always tell you when I leave and when I return. I always laughingly tell my friends I'm heading back to East Berlin now. And, and things like that. So I can understand to where it's not going away, because they're not going away. Everything is still the same. Notice how focus isn't on the wars anymore. We got kids over there dying and all this. I did an interview the other day where, it was a young kid on the internet, and he wanted to compare how he's wrestling to politics, and I was going to have none of that. I said, look, wrestling is entertainment. It's sports athleticism. I said, politics is serious. I said, we got kids still dying in Iraq and Afghanistan, people getting killed in wars over there, which in this country now we seem to have taken some laissez-faire attitude about them. That, oh, well, they signed up, that's their job, and away we go. Life goes on. Why worry about these wars that we're involved in?
Well, Governor, I had Colonel Anthony Schaefer on last Friday before I went to California, and I had General Hamid Gul, the former head of Pakistani intelligence who beat the Russians on, and he said, we've already lost over there, we're going to lose. Now the entire population of Pakistan is starting to rise up, and that we will be run out within a year if we don't leave now. And I asked Colonel Schaefer, who'd been there for years and was, part of Stratus Ivy and, commanded, of course, Able Danger, and he agreed. He said, we've got to leave in the next 6 months or we will lose, but the system doesn't care. And many of these experts agreed it's all about opium and lithium and those oil and gas pipelines, just as you have said previously.
Oh yeah, no. If you look in Afghanistan at where our bases are set up, our bases are completely set up to go along that pipeline and protect it. And now, if that's our real purpose over there, then just be truthful with me, Alex. Don't give me these other stories and all this other nonsense. I got in big trouble, when I was on Fox, when I said that, we've been practicing terrorism for 50 years. We just call it foreign policy. And people need to understand we've done a lot of awful things out in the world. And we've instigated a lot of terrible things out in the world. And then we wonder why we need this huge defense to protect ourselves from the rest of the world. I think if we would start behaving our country a little more humanely and start looking at helping people rather than killing and destroying them everywhere, we might not need the military that we seem to require in this country. Why do we require this massive, largest military by, tenfold?
It's bigger
military in the world.
It's bigger than all other militaries combined.
Yeah. For why? What is the root of the problem? We're supposed to be the bastion of freedom. We're supposed to be the country that all these other countries look up to and want to emulate. And yet clearly they don't, because of obviously our international behavior throughout the world. And just because we have the biggest army and military in the world, we shouldn't fall down that shallow, ignorant path that it's our way or the highway, and that might is right.
Well,
and that anything we do is okay because we got bigger bombs than you got. Well, yeah, that works for a while, but if you go down through history, you'll see that every military power throughout the world that had the power over the world eventually crumbled and fell.
Well, Governor, you're absolutely right. And the big danger throughout history, whether it was Rome in the time of Caesar over 2,000 years ago, or what happens in third world countries every month, when you build up a giant police state military domestic grid, which they've turned loose on us after 9/11, your nation always falls to a police state, because why shouldn't the elite use that police state to take everybody's liberty and their freedoms? When I was with you in Atlanta, watching them wand you and search you because you have a prosthetic hip, had a hip replacement, You know, you talked about, I can't wait to get out of here and get back to Mexico. I can't wait to get out of East Germany. I flew out of San Jose yesterday morning. They had naked body scanners everywhere. Thank God they didn't try to put me into one because I wouldn't have done it.
I refuse to, too, and tell everybody, refuse to go in those things. You don't have to be forced into them. I refuse to. They don't like it, but I just tell them. And not only that, for health reasons, Alex, think about it for a minute. When you go in and get a regular X-ray, they cover your private areas with lead. The person that does it goes in another room, and now they're going to tell you that, yes, these X-rays are much more minor, they're not to the level. Yeah, that may be, but if you're like me sometimes where you fly and you do, Alex, 3 and 4 times a week, and you start getting microwave 3 to 4 times a week going into these things, and then 10 years from now you get some brain tumor or something, and everyone's going to go, gee, how did that happen?
Well, Gov, let me stop you again. I have the New York Times, LA Times, top scientist on record saying it's 20 to 50 times the radiation they'd previously said, and that it is a serious cancer risk. And now Forbes reports 500 mobile X-ray vans that are so powerful they look through your walls, and they're beaming our houses with things 10 times more powerful than a chest X-ray. We'll talk about that when we come back. There's the headline, airport body scanners could give you cancer, warns expert, Daily Mail. When we come back, though, I want to shift into 9/11 again and the new bombshell developments and what the governor thinks we should do about this. We've got to all call for a new investigation, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back with Governor Jesse Ventura.